most farmers, if we're digging out in the field, they don't want us to take their prime, best soils, so we usually strip that stuff off to the side and then dig down below and push the good stuff back over the top. The better material is from 4 to 26 inches. You can see it's got a mix of the best and the okay. And then the best materials are 26 to 60 inches deep. So we don't necessarily always want to dig down 26 to 60 inches. Again, we're trying to find the most efficient and effective way to do this, but just an idea of stuff you can do ahead of time to try to identify good borrow sites within your levee district or neighboring properties. And we're looking for a 30% minimum clay content with low organic and debris inside of it. So this is the Unified Soil Classification System. Here it defines those different types of soils a little better. I've put in red the ones that we don't want, in orange the ones that are okay, and in green the ones that would be preferred. So these top two here are the sands we prefer. This one are the clays that we would prefer. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Wendy.
Any questions?
Oh yeah, questions about borrow site soils? Yes, sir.
Who pays for NEPA compliance?
We do the project there. I'm sorry, the question was who pays for the NEPA compliance? And so when we go through that process, that's something that will be federally funded. So that's part of the PIR process, which again remains federally funded. Tim?
Yeah, Anthony, just curious.
Oh, sorry, yeah, wait for the.
Curious if the Corps of Engineers has a list of pre-approved borrow sites that are within our, general area of the sponsors that are here.
So for
Specifically East Moline.
for rocks and stuff, I know that we've got a great list of riprap sources and everything like that. I don't know that we have.
We have a quarry list.
Yeah, I know we've got a quarry list, but he's asking about soil.
The borrow sites.
Yeah, I don't know that we have a soil list. I will ask about that. I'll shoot an email off to our geotech folks here while Wendy's talking. I'll see if I can find you an answer before we're done today. Anybody else? Wendy, you're up.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm Wendy Froelich, and I'm a biologist. I'm with the Environmental Compliance Branch, and our branch ensures that the PLA 499 projects are compliant with various federal laws. Like Anthony said, there's lots of acronyms, so I'll kind of go through these. NEPA is the National Environmental Policy Act. There's the Endangered Species Act, the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act, the National Historic Preservation Act, and the Clean Water Act. Those are some of the ones that we deal with in our office. And essentially, all these PLA 499 projects, they're federal actions, and all federal actions have to be compliant with state federal laws. And the levee repair itself is not only what we're looking at. The federal action is actually either the staging area, the access roads, so all the things involved with it, the borrow site, all those things make up the federal action. And that federal action has to be coordinated with various federal and state agencies. The ones that we go to the most for federal would be the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the USDA. State agencies are usually Illinois and Iowa DNR, Missouri Department of Conservation. The state SHPOs, the State Historic Preservation Offices, are also who we coordinate with, or archaeologists coordinate with quite often. Coordination can take coordination is usually 15 days. What we do is we come up with a coordination package, and essentially we send that out to agencies, and then we ask, and it's expedited, we ask them, it's normally 30 days, but we ask them to have it back to us in 15 days, and then if they have any issues or actually concerns, that kind of starts a back and forth between agencies and us to make sure the compliance is occurring. I have 120 plus. There are instances where maybe a survey is required. When you start getting into surveys and other things or issues, coordination then has to occur with the survey. So you can see how it can kind of get long, and that's what we don't want to happen with these PLE 499 projects. Environmental compliance extends through the project completion, so we're usually involved right through the project completion. The only time we may be beyond that would be as if for some reason a project had mitigation. So if it had mitigation and required monitoring for some reason, we would be involved even after the project completion. I was talking about that package that we put together that we send out to the agencies, and really this slide shows a lot of the things that we need to know from you. And we keep talking about borrow sites, and we will continue to keep talking about them, because if we can identify them early, that really helps, especially when we're coordinating with those agencies, so that we can know what issues they may have right away. So if you're using a previously used or already cleared site, that's obviously the best that we can get. Is it coming from a commercial source? Is it a new site? So we need to know these things. If it's a new site, it will likely require an archaeological survey. I know it says may require here, but in many cases it does require an archaeological survey. And then that survey again has to be coordinated with the SHPO and tribes. Other items we need to know as soon as possible is if you anticipate any tree removal, and that is under the Endangered Species Act. There's some bats, the Indiana bat and northern long-eared bat. If it's possible that any of that habitat exists, and there may need to be a survey, and there's only certain times that trees can be cut for if there is habitat available. Dredging, is dredging going to be needed for access or to get into a construction area? Is the dredging going to be used, or is the material going to be used? And many of these levees are on the Mississippi River, and the Hagen's Eye mussel is an endangered species, and it may require a survey if it's in an area that might have them. So again, these things can add time to the project. Wetlands, and as Anthony said, avoid. If a lot of these things, we could just avoid them, that would be the best. If we can't avoid them, then we try to mitigate for them if we need to use those sites. But we need to determine if it's a wetland or not, so it may require a wetland delineation. And other site-specific resources are if the agencies, the state agencies may have state-listed species that they're concerned about in a certain area, and they'll let us know that as soon as possible. Or if you have a bald eagle nest near a construction site, so we're looking for bald eagle nests and bald eagle activity, where we go out and look at the damage areas. Regulatory permit considerations are really similar to that coordination package. The same types of information are what we're looking for. The description of damages, the description of the repair. Will the repair be in the same alignment, or will it be in a different footprint or an offset levee? So that's what we need to know in order to possibly find out if there's any issues, or any wetland issues especially. May require a wetland delineation to determine that. Again with the borrow, the same thing goes with the regulatory side of things. We need to know where the borrow is coming from as part of the federal action. As far as PLE 499 projects go, most of the projects are going to fall under a nationwide, or authorized under a nationwide permit. And so if you have a project, it'll likely be a nationwide permit. But these are all things that kind of go into it and that we need to know. The sooner we know these things, the sooner we can get that coordination out. The sooner we can find out if the resource agencies have any concerns. So. And that is, do you have any questions for me about the environmental side of things? Do you have any questions of the whole?
Yeah, I wanted to throw out too, just because we might run into an endangered species species or a wetland or any of those environmental concerns, those are not showstoppers for the repair process either. They do slow things down, they do require us to do additional actions, but last year we just finished a project. It had 5 endangered species, which cut our work window down to 99 days each year. It had 45-something acres of mitigation that had to be done. It was the poster child of everything that can go wrong will go wrong in terms of, having to bump into different environmental conditions. But again, it took a little bit longer, but we did get through it, and we can get those projects built as well. So again, don't want anybody to think this is a big scary thing. It's all stuff we can solve. It just takes a little bit more effort, and it just takes a little bit more time. So, but again, the whole point is avoid as much as you can so that you don't get stuck on these things. And if you do have to get stuck on them, we'll work it through with you, and we'll try to find the best solution. So, I don't know. Other questions about anything we talked about this morning? Yeah, do we want to, since you're here, do you want to go with your slides? We can get the economic stuff done here this morning as well then, and then we can break for lunch. We got a little bit of time. Maybe she'll generate a whole bunch of questions.
So I am Diane Carnish, and I'm the Chief of Economics Section, and I work in the Rock Island District. I actually work for New Orleans in the Rock Island District, which is kind of weird, but I do all the economic analysis, and when I say I do all the economic analysis, I mean I find somebody that will do all the economic analysis for these projects, although I do some of them myself. So this program has to have a positive benefit cost ratio in order for us to do the fix to the levy system, and that includes determining what the benefits of actually fixing the system are, right? So we look at all the assets in the system, including structures and contents, and that can be to residential, commercial, industrial, public, agricultural structures. We look at crop damages. We take into consideration the current interest rate that's federal interest rate at the time, and the period of analysis is determined by the ET 500-1-1. And basically the benefits are you have a reduced level of protection, so you're going to have some amount of damage. We fix it, you have less damages, so you subtract that out and gives you the benefits for the project. So if the benefit cost ratio is less than 0, or less than 1, I'm sorry, then we start looking for more benefits. How I do these is I usually start with what's been done in the past if there's available information, and I run it with information from the engineers. If it comes out with a benefit cost ratio less than 1, then I go looking for more benefits and more information. So it could be, I don't know that we've gone to a lot of sponsors and asked for information, but it could happen. So I would like information on historical damages, what has happened in your levy district, so that I can calibrate the damages that I'm calculating against what's really happening on the ground. So information on historical damages would be nice. And then I will explore other benefit categories: utilities, autos, claim costs, traffic reroute, roads and railroads. We've included those in our analysis. Again, we usually start with the information that we have available, but we will look for as many benefits as we can find. And then, has there been an increase or decrease? Decrease is probably not good, but if there's been an increase in structures in the area or some land use change that might affect the damages, then we want to know about that. So I can go into the weeds on the cost analysis, or if you have any questions, let me know. Yes?
like minor damage to the levee, then you assign a reduced efficiency or a reduced capacity of the levee. So like in my instance, I've got probably $200 million worth of infrastructure on one side of the levee, but I've got minor damage. How do I determine what's the cost benefit ratio look like on that? For minor damage, it's not a breach, but I've got a ton of infrastructure on the other side of it.
Yeah, so the risk times the damage is how we come up with, or the risk times the amount of infrastructure behind there is how we come up with the damages. So yes, if you have a low probability that it's gonna get damaged, then that does affect your cost ratio. But I don't assign those levels of protection, the engineers do.
Yeah, do you want me to?
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
jump in and, yeah.
This has reminded me of a slide that I probably should have put in here, and I will add it to the future one. So say that, you know, and this is gonna be hard to, let me stand in front of here so that the folks online can see my hand gestures here as well. So say your levee's coming down like this, and you've just got a, 3 feet cut here, and so 3-1 slope would be 9 feet wide, so you've got 3 feet, 9 feet. So what we do is, right now, the levee comes up to here, and this is the level of protection that we do in the calculation. So now we come down 3 feet, we draw that same slope up, we draw a new top of levee that's the same width as the current one, and so basically it shifts everything down that 3 feet, and you get credit for that. You're looking at that delta. So here's the effective levee, which is equivalent to what was there before. So if your levee was 8 feet wide, we'll say there's an 8-foot crown down here that comes out to it. So it's a math that we do in engineering to figure out what the new effective levee looks like with the damages compared to what the original levee looked like. We'll tell Diane, okay, well, before it was a 1% chance of going over the top of this thing, but if I reduce the protection by, this amount of erosion, well, now there's a 12% chance or something like that. So she'll do the math based on that difference. Does that make sense? It's a little kind of confusing how this all works, but Kyle, yeah?
I just sent an email with a picture, sorry, I just sent an email with a picture to, is that all up there?
Except,
Sarah's name.
Send it to Sam's email.
It's his,
mine,
yeah,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
Anthony's.
But I'm gonna have to, we'll pull it up after lunch.
we'll
Yeah,
pull it up later.
He's
Yeah.
not connected to the,
Yeah, I'll get
Internet.
logged in, we'll pull it up after
Yeah.
lunch and that'll work, so.
So yeah, the reduced level that you have, if it's not reduced a lot, it does affect what your benefits will be. That's the short answer.
The cost of these projects is often 60–70% to address the environmental and non-structural improvements. At one point you say you'll fund all the federal, well, that's a federal mandate. Is that cost included in your benefit cost ratio, or is that funded 100% federal? Then your benefit cost ratio just the structural improvement for the protection.
I don't believe we have study costs in that cost, correct? Kyle can maybe know. Study costs are not in the project cost. It's just
Right.
the structural cost.
So if we have to mitigate 500 acres, is that cost included in the?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes, that is, that is included, yeah. Mitigation costs are included in the total
It's a
project
total,
cost.
yeah, it's a total project. Beth's probably the expert on this, really. Do you want it, Beth,
Yeah.
you wanna grab that?
It would be total project cost. So if the project requires mitigation as part of our repair, then that mitigation cost is included, and that's used to factor the benefit to cost ratio. So basically, we get through the PIR phase and the project is approved, and everything after that is considered total project costs and is what we use to determine the BCR. Okay,
So going back to your original statement, you will pay for all the federal related costs, and that mitigation or plantings, those are all federal. As a levy sponsor, our goal is to fix the structure, and if we have to address your federal regulations, it's hard for me, in my mind, to justify, spending 75% of a project to meet these federal mandates, where really only 25% of the project provides the benefit to the land side.
are you a federal sponsor? Okay, so you won't have to cost share anything. But, I mean, it's a valid point for a non-federal sponsor that has a cost share to their rehab, I mean.
If I'm a federal sponsor, my benefit cost is below 1, are you going to address?
So, I think I get what you're saying, is that, so say that the total project cost, including mitigation, was $2 million. Only maybe $250,000 or $500,000 of that is increasing the levy back to where it was and is providing an additional
Can't do any increases.
benefit. Well, no, but I mean, so say it's damaged, so it's effectively lower. So you're spending maybe 25%, $500,000 of that $2 million to get it back to the original level of protection. So that's the part that's boosting back that benefit cost ratio to the top. But then you're spending the other 1.5 million, for example, to do the additional work to meet all these requirements. So your concern is that that's adding additional costs that aren't adding additional levy benefits, even though there might be, again. Right. Yeah. Right, and again, as a public entity, as a levy district, you would also be subject to those rules and regulations, even if we weren't going through the process with the federal government too, so. Well, yes, I think I understand what you're saying, but yeah, it'll all get looked at as one holistic project as for the benefit cost ratio. Well, hold on. He's bringing you the mic.
So there's a good chance on minor damage, if we have mitigation, it's gonna kick us below the 1.0.
I've been doing this for a long time, and I think only one that I know of, or two that have been below 1.0.
Yeah, the benefit cost ratio is a challenging thing. I will say that we take every effort to try to find every sort of benefit that we can out there. So again, like Diane usually starts with just like, here's this many acres of stuff, crops out there. There's 4,000 acres of corn, 4,000 acres of soybeans, whatever the case might be. And then she'll go with that. And if that still doesn't make the benefit cost ratio come out to 1, then she goes and looks at, well, what are all the road costs, and then, she'll add up all those road costs for detouring people out and around. And then if it still doesn't add up, then we look at, what are the buildings? Are there some grain bins there? Are there houses? Is there a wastewater treatment facilities? Whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
I would think that with $200 million of infrastructure behind there, it would take it would have to be really, really minor damages to not meet those benefit cost ratios. But again, it's hard to say without looking at the actual data. Again, this process, this first part of the process is 100% federally funded. So there's really no risk on you to not do it other than potentially like a time delay if you've got to then start your own process afterwards. But I think it's always, it's like one of those things, the worst thing we're going to tell you is no, right? So.
And we'll develop a lot of good information for you to use in that report. It's not like a wasted effort. You'll then have all the engineering data that we've collected, and you can use that to go through your process. But like I said, I've been doing this for a very long time, and there's less than a handful that have been negative.
Jim.
So when you're looking at assets, does it include everything that is protected by the levy?
Yes.
And how do you determine that, what the value of everything that's protected by the levy?
So usually I have some information to start with, but if I was going out from scratch, then I would, you know, start out by going and look at Google Earth or something and figuring out all the structures. Structure and content damage is 90% of your benefits. And then I would look at the crop damages. I mean, there's some levy districts that are just crop damages, and they meet the criteria also. They get a benefit cost ratio of 1. But so historically, we've gone out and looked at structure and contents and crop damages, and if it's close or it's 0.9 or 0.8, whatever, it's under 1. Recently, we have been adding in roads. There's a lot of damage. If you look at after this flood that we just had, there's a lot of roads out there that have just eroded away because they've had water on them so long, and they've had the velocity to damage the road. So lately, we've been adding in road damages very successfully. There's a lot of benefits out there that I would tell you we don't capture. If the benefit cost ratio is above 1, then we go forward with it. But what I'm telling you is if it's below 1, I'm going to go try and find more benefits. I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to, you know, we're going to get it to 1.0, but I'm going to look really hard at trying to find more benefits. Anything else? If you have any other questions you think of after this, contact your project manager or Jim, Anthony, and they can get questions to me, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, thank you.
We will, it's 11 o'clock, so